on this computer. All right, recording is in progress. So,
Cool.
okay, I got it. Cannot minimize Zoom while recording. Got it. All right, so we are here today. My name is James. We've got Ryan here. We're going to be doing the first inaugural, that's a hard word to say, episode of The Big Show, the most famous fantasy football league of all time.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do a quick intro. Format is we each kind of put together a little perspective of how we started 18 years ago and where we are now. And we're going to read those to you one at a time, and then we're going to dive right in. So, episode 1, intro. Welcome all who aren't listening yet. Hopefully you listen one day. My name is James, a proud member of what I believe to be the greatest fantasy football league in the world, The Big Show. This is a league that started in a basement in Southborough, Massachusetts in 2005, 18 years ago. That's 56.25% of my entire life absorbed in fantasy football. Half of me thinks 56.25% of your life, couldn't you have just chosen something more beneficial? Maybe to the world? While the other half of me thinks, wow, that's fucking cool. But to be real, 56.25% of me thinks it's fucking badass that the same group of kids, with some minor adjustments over time, found a way to use fantasy football as a way to stay connected for 18 years. I'm proud to be a fantasy fanatic. Over the course of these years, fantasy football has meant more to me than just rooting for guys to throw, catch, and run with footballs. It's become a base for all the other growth that has taken place in our lives. We've gone from little assholes playing poker, drinking soda and eating Dominoes, staying up all night playing video games, farting and talking about girls, to fathers, husbands, graduates, educators, entrepreneurs, and continued friends. As I sat here the other night, 32 years old, both daughters sound asleep, while my wife went out for a well-deserved night out, I was sitting with a nut with a high noon by my side. You heading out? Peace. Got you. And a marijuana vape pen in my pocket, listening to a Goose-inspired playlist on Spotify. I found myself drifting into the past where this beautiful league all began. It was 2005. We were going to our sophomore years in high school. The majority of us went to a regional high school where kids from Northborough and Southborough attended, while some others went to a private school in Worcester. The common denominator for everyone outside of myself was that they're from Southborough. Connected by the infamous Kevin Greco, who will become a household name in time, I had no idea what I was getting into. Kevin and I were two kids who happened to be athletic and do all of the same sports while sharing almost every class in freshman year. We quickly got consumed in each other, just naturally spending an insane amount of time together, to the point where before I knew it, all of the kids I hung out with were from Southborough. We played sports, shit on each other, talked about girls, and most of all, like I said earlier, played some poker. Some of us, the cool ones, would rock pajamas on a Saturday night while hanging out with the boys. Ryan can attest to that.
Very true.
Then one day, I couldn't tell you any more than this, but someone somewhere decided that the boys should start a fantasy football league. It was probably more than one person, but Kareem, who was a league legend and is tied or leading the league in championships, was our first commissioner. He introduced us to points per reception, bonus points for TDs over 40 and 50 yards, and even home field advantage. For all the good that Kareem
Forgot
did.
about that.
Oh, it was awful. Absolutely awful. For all the good that Kareem did for us and the league, a fantasy football team getting 3 points for no reason was one of the dumbest ideas of all time. And I promise this has nothing to do with the fact that I lost to a playoff game to Kevin by 2 points in one of those seasons. Back in those days, we were all so competitive. It wasn't borderline unhealthy. It was over the line unhealthy. Some of us, as always, took it more seriously than others. Some took the losses harder than others, and some just went along for the ride, staying entertained by how much the others cared. Beyond that, I have certain memories in my life that stick around in my brain for specific reasons. One vivid memory is when I didn't make the varsity soccer team my sophomore year. The same year, the Big Show was created. Kevin and I were favorites to make the team from our class in a year where our school was a favorite to win state championship. Kevin made it, another kid in our grade made it, and I was on the JV team for the second year in a row. I had such a small brain back then. My world was shattered. Oh no. I may or may not have posted in our league page about how upset I was and how I couldn't believe who I was going to be playing soccer with, while some of those kids were in our league. I was a shithead, and I think more about how I handled myself in that situation more than how I didn't make the team or how I missed out on a state championship. Our lives are dictated not by what happens, but how we react to what happens and how we handle ourselves. In a weird way, this little fantasy league has helped me see my weaknesses and allowed me to grow from a shithead to someone who's a little more seasoned. Honestly, that's what I miss about those early years with this league. We were totally different people living completely different lives. It was straight insanity. We started partying, drinking, and smoking, always trying to be cool and making some really dumb decisions. Fantasy football or not, that's what a lot of people go through at that point in their lives, at least the ones who are fortunate enough to have that be their lives. Unfortunately, stupid decisions are stupid for a reason, and in that same year, we lost two incredible sisters to a tragic drunk driving accident. That experience, that year, that loss, were just monumental for us all. We all had our stories, our connections to the girls. The older sister was my closest sister's best friend. Her younger sister and I were really good friends too, and she was also friends with everyone in our league. They honestly deserve their own episode, where the same themes of how we handle ourselves in different situations in life can be found. The girls' deaths were about 18 years ago, same year this league was created, and the bond amongst league members has gotten stronger every year. Just a couple of weeks ago, one of our own got married, and a highlight I'll remember for the rest of my life was members of the Big Show and their girlfriends and wives starting an arm-in-arm slow dance to Elton John's Your Song, with the bride and groom dancing in the center of a circle that eventually included everyone who still remained at the wedding. We all drank and danced and sang with each other in support of one of our own, but in appreciation of us all. As someone who lives thousands of miles away from the majority of our league members, just like Royen, it was awesome. Anyways, in the past 18 years, we have experienced many things, including the introduction of Red Zone, 4 Pats Super Bowl wins, including one in 2005, thrown Xbox controllers, Hurricane Katrina, the introduction of the iPhone, the first black president, the killing of Osama bin Laden, and all the major productions about killing him afterwards, the Sandy Hook school shooting, the Boston Marathon bombing, the Supreme Court passing same-sex marriage, the election of Donald Trump, aka the "you're fired" guy, government shutdowns, COVID-19, January 6th, the death of our family members. I could go on for days. Last night, my wife came home from a much-needed 9 p.m. trip to Target. She's a stay-at-home mom who had put the girls down to bed alone in back-to-back nights, which is the equivalence of a death sentence. So when she says she needs to go to Target at 9 p.m., she goes to Target at 9 p.m. When she returned, she had this fancy microphone that she was beyond ecstatic about. It was a $140 microphone that she somehow got on sale for $40. The definition of a bargain hunter she is. She went on a rant about how excited she was to start doing podcasts about her life. And let me tell you, hers will be better than this one. And she eventually said, "You need to do a podcast for the Big Show." The woman who, God bless her soul, has absolutely hated how much I talk about this league just told me I needed to start a podcast about this league. So only a fool wouldn't jump on this opportunity. So here we are. Now you know a little bit about my perspective of where we were 18 years ago and how we're still rocking and rolling. And now it's time to get into the league itself, have Royen talk about his perspective, go through the historical data, the drama, the heartbreak, the upsets, the modernizations and the innovation, the music, and the sport of football itself. Although I'm not going to lie, this won't just be about fantasy football. The talk around fantasy is going to be the base of what we talk about, the most constant, but it's going to be about so much more. If this podcast does any justice for a league, we will bring you to the world of fantasy, the world that stays constant amidst the madness that we call life. And perfect example is our first recording of this podcast. I couldn't figure out how to get the microphone to work. So Uh, we're rocking and rolling already, and now we're gonna leave it up to my wonderful co-host here, Ryan.
Awesome. Well, James, amazing. Mine's not going to nearly do justice to what you just did. Um, you know, I'm super excited. James and I were talking about this earlier this week, and he wanted to kind of join together and do this. I said, "When do you want to do it?" He said, "Oh, well, you know what? I need to go out and I need to write this intro, and then I'll send you a deadline." He said, "I work much better without a deadline." And I said, "That's perfect because I need a deadline to work with." And James said, "That's absolutely perfect." And I think that it really speaks to just the way that our league can kind of balance off of each other, and the 12 of us for a long time and then the 14 of us for the past couple of years, we managed to come together. There's lots of dramatic moments, but ultimately, we're agreeable on what the rules of the league are, how we're going to operate. And I'd say overall it's a pretty amiable league. We get along pretty well, which really just mirrors the friendship that we've had for the past 18 years, and for a lot of us for even longer than that.
Oh,
And so, I've known so many of these guys. I'm 32 now, since I was 5 and 6 years old. So, for me, it's James was talking about how, earlier in our lives, everyone went to Algonquin, and I was one of the handful of few who went to Worcester or not to Algonquin. And, even today, I really don't have any friends from that high school because I spent every weekend, I spent every, basically free minute with the guys from Algonquin and with these friends who I've had for my entire life. That's really, oh Jesus, Trey Lance is getting carted off. Sorry. Um, that so that's really like what this league has meant to me in a nutshell. It's been a way to connect, and I've lived in New York, and I've lived in Hoboken, New Jersey, and I've lived in Boston, and now I live in California. Yet it's always kind of a great opportunity to spend time with each other, and just to keep friendships going. Also have so much fun. I don't think there's anything in my life. There's really not a lot of things in my life that are more fun than this league. So that's really what this league has meant to me over the years. And think about going back to kind of the beginning. I don't exactly remember how we started up the league. I think I can't even remember if it was a text or Cream called me on like my parents' home phone line or whatever the hell it was.
probably was a
But he's like,
landline.
hey, right? It must have been in 2005. So it's like, hey man, you want to do this thing called fantasy football? And I guess I'd never really heard about it before, but it turns out to be some of the best decisions. And kind of from that moment, I remember drafting. I think the first draft that we did, I did it at Kevin Greco's house. Um, he's no longer with the league, but he was an integral part in the early years. And as Jay mentioned, you'll hear his name a lot throughout these podcasts. Um, and just remember, I think he took Priest Holmes or Larry Johnson. I can't remember who it was, but it was like the most excited he's ever been. And then of course that they went on to score like 60 touchdowns that year, not actually, but like 20 or something absurd. And so that's kind of my earliest memories of the league. And we would play a lot of poker. James is right. A lot of us would wear pajama pants, mostly James and I, but others would dabble as well. Um, kind of things that I want to talk about this league that I really enjoyed, just all of your guys' friendship, spending time together, talking to each other. The draft house is the weekend that I look forward to the most every year, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. We're usually able to have a pretty good turnout. It's a great time to connect with people who you're, not necessarily able to see every year. And as we were preparing for this, I was thinking a little bit about, where everybody is these days. And there's really so many people spread out. Like, even if you think about the people who are still in Mass, you've got, Mike's in Malden, Chris is now in the city, Pat's in the city still, but pretty much everybody else is out of the city. Mike List, I guess, is in the city. And then you have LeBar and Max who live on the same street in Southborough, which is
Yeah.
amazing. So it's just people are spread out a little bit more. You've got more going on. You have significant others or um, other things going on with your life. You're busy with your job, whatnot, and it's hard to see each other like we used to, which would be every weekend in the basement, and we would play Madden and talk about fantasy and
And
smoke weed and drink
Tim's was
Coke.
still too.
That's right. And yeah, yes, we've got people still around, but everybody's a little bit more spread out than they used to be. And so, I think the ability to use this league as a springboard to continue our relationships and um, the draft specifically to get together and really spend some good time with each other is so much fun. We're going to cover so much throughout this, and we want to have some different guest spots and some different things each week. that we're going to discuss, but some of the highlights for me that as I think about this league throughout the years, the draft in Vegas, the draft in New York City, which was just absolutely outrageous. The different houses that we've stayed at in New Hampshire and Maine and Vermont for the drafts, all of the trades, all of the little needling and comments, and you don't start a quarterback, you never hear the end of it. And Mike List, I'm sorry, but you're never going to hear the end of it. LeBar, even today, he started Julio Jones, who didn't play. He hasn't gotten a lot of shit for that, but
it's flown under the radar. He threw out the Adam Carolla shit. Chris has been going on things, but it's bad, man. He started a guy on Thursday night in the flex and then couldn't play a wide receiver because Julio was out.
It was rough. I know. I meant to say something earlier in the week, but you never know how it's really going to play out. And then, of course, it plays out just how he doesn't want it to. But all of these things that our league has sort of brought to our lives, I think it's really the same for almost each and every one of us in our own little way. And it's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and I can't wait for the next 3, 4, hopefully 5 decades. Who knows? But if we're lucky enough. And just to really start to dive in and bring this new kind of content to the league and like a different way that we can connect, in a different way that we can kind of talk about the league and enhance it even more. I think it's just so awesome. So I'm really excited for it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so that's the big show in a nutshell. And I think we should dive into who really is the big show outside of Ryan and I. And
cool.
Ryan will do a little activity here where I'll say the person's name, say a couple things, and then you can say a couple things, and we'll go on to the next person. So we'll start with someone who's really gotten more and more and more involved in the league in the last 5, 6 years. And I think part of that is because he became a co-commissioner. That is Andy Spiewak. He has really ramped it up in the past few years. It's actually quite impressive and really awesome. He is an original member, again, co-commissioner, currently believes that this rookie class and the next rookie class are the be-all, end-all of rookie classes.
If you don't have them, you're screwed.
Yeah, so much so that he is openly tanking, although he is still in control of Jamar Chase, and that's my fault, but that's okay. He has never won a championship. He has lost in the finals twice. Kind of looking like he's a forever peasant. Mainly because he's famous for sending me I suck at fantasy football apron after beating me in a regular season years ago, only for me to go on to win every single game for the rest of that season and defeat Andy in the championship. So, yeah, that's what I think of Andy when I think of Andy in our league.
That's so good. I think I echo exactly what James said. Andy really has, turned it on. I'll say he'll tell you if you look at the stats, and when Chris puts together more of the stats, he's got one of the best records in the league the last 5 years. That's something we really want to give him kudos about. And no championships, but a good record. So we're here for it, Andy. We're here for it.
Good job,
Also, I would not be doing him any favors if I didn't plug Jamison Williams. This guy. Have you seen Bama's offense without him? It's so bad.
It's so bad. Guy's never played snap before, but he is the best player in the league.
He's actually already been on 3 or 4 teams. That's what's amazing about this league is we've got a guy who hasn't played yet, not going to play for who knows how long. Yeah, he's been on 3 or 4 different teams. We like him already.
So likable, he's already the most tradable guy in the league right now.
Oh my God. All right, who do we got next?
We got Christopher Howard. He is another original member. He was more into it in high school, and then we got into college, and there are a couple of years where you could arguably say that he stopped caring for maybe about 10 years. And then in recent years, he ramped it up quite a bit, and he has been a top 3 team really every year in recent memory. And that's Cam Akers with a catch. Yeah, baby, here we go.
Oh, let's go, Cam boy.
So he definitely has a top 3 team in the league right now, and he is our defending champion. He's a heavy believer
is.
in data analysis, his own draft spreadsheet, which may or may not have magical powers that always favor him. So that's Chris.
Yeah. He didn't get Amon-Ra, though. That's disappointing for him.
Yeah, he blew that. He got Justin Herbert, though.
Yeah, he did. He did. I hear he didn't even crack his ribs this week.
Not good. Not good. But yeah, Ryan's definitely got some more fun memories with Chris. They grew up down the street with each other, from each other.
Yeah, so Chris and I grew up just neighborhood away, very, very close, and run there, and he's run to my house many, many times. I don't know that it was 10 years where he really didn't care, but I'd say the college years and maybe immediately post-college, so 5 or 6.
Yeah.
He had a little lull. That being said, he's tied with Kareem for the most championships. So,
He has
I think
3?
that I think he's got 4.
No
Him
way.
and Kareem, yeah, they got 4 each, I believe.
We need
And
some
so,
proof. Where's Andy
yeah, I mean,
with the proof?
we'll do a whole historical episode, but I'm pretty sure he's got 4 along with Kareem. He's somebody he's applying the data. He's been doing it for years now, and he's got the spreadsheet, and he just looks at this spreadsheet, and everyone else gets so excited about these rookies. And Chris is just like, nah, this is who the spreadsheet says to take. I'm taking Antonio Gibson. Fuck y'all. And he gets like 11 catches the first week. So it's working for him.
He seems to just touch gold. Everything he touches turns into gold right now because he drafted a rookie last year and it turned out to be Javonte Williams, who I deemed this offseason the most valuable player in the history of the Big Show.
And I think he still might.
Yeah, I definitely
well,
do.
he also drafted Amon-Ra last year. So, he's had a little bit of a Midas touch lately.
It's the spreadsheet, man. It's fucking gold.
It's
Cam just keeps getting touches. I'm so happy I benched him for Michael Carter this week. I love it.
It's too bad because I think Drew's playing Henderson now.
That's amazing. The next guy on our list is Mike List. He is an expansion member who joined, guess might not have been this year, but pretty sure it was 2017. And
I think it was 2019.
2019.
I think this is his 3rd or 4th year, yeah.
Well, he hasn't missed the playoffs since his arrival, which has been quite impressive. Derrick Henry will do that to you. Has recently been deemed the worst league member to trade with, by
no question
myself here, but that throne also will always go back to Phil Royen at some point in time if it hasn't already. Mike is famous for benching Lamar Jackson in a playoff game, and shockingly, it didn't work out. And given that
he decided to go with no QB whatsoever, it was bold.
Totally forgot about that aspect of it. Like, just didn't even put anybody else in. Nah. Like, I don't play catchers. I'll play catchers in fantasy baseball, but that's different than not playing a quarterback in fantasy football.
Hey, you're about to go to the semifinals there, so clearly you know what you're doing.
They just ruin your batting average.
Well, so I think for Mike, it's been impressive. He's come into the league, and we really it was tough for Jim and for Mike early on. We gave him like very little keepers. I don't think they had any keepers. I think they maybe got the first 2 picks of the draft, and then they got 2 picks at the end of the first round. So it was not good.
They got the first 4 picks.
Right, but 2 and 2.
Yeah.
So they got to pick 2 keepers after everybody else picked keepers. And then they picked they had 2 picks before the next round too. So they effectively had horrible teams. Mike made the playoffs. He had Lamar, and he had Derrick Henry, just carried him.
And Pat Steve.
And Pat Steve, Jesus, that's right. So yeah, it was just working. It's just been working for him. We'll see what happens this year. Henry's a little bit older, maybe on his last legs, but I wouldn't doubt him yet.
Oh, Henderson with a touchdown. There you go.
Disaster. Playing Andy this week. But, talking about Phil's actually, speaking of trades with Phil and I had a little conversation this week. It's a little interesting after today. He wanted to, he put CD on the trade block. No, not Garrett Wilson, but he put CD on the trade block, and I inquired as to what CD might cost. And I was informed that it would be, Jalen Waddle and a first plus something else.
Jesus, that's it. Well, it is CD. He's got the name.
Exactly. It's the name. Waddle's actually only scored more points than CD though. CD's never actually had more in a season. And I think after this week, we're pretty clear on who the leading one is moving forward. So those trade discussions were quickly squashed. Um, but yeah. Oh, Daryl did really just get in. I'm like a minute and a half behind you, man.
Yeah, I'll stop talking. I'll wait for you to say it.
No, that's fine. Let's see. I still have a fairly big lead. All right, so who we got up next? That's Phil, that's Mike, that's Andy, and that's Chris.
We actually didn't really dive into Phil,
That's
other than
true.
him being the worst. But the next one on here is Mike's Decitus, who is
Let's go.
another original member who's had some ups and downs historically, but just got married, so I guess we should be nice here.
I think so. It's a good
Yeah,
policy.
he once participated in the one and only 5-team trade that took place a couple of years ago, which was one of the best things in the world.
Absolutely amazing. You can do an episode on that.
Yep. He currently has a top 3 team in the league, no doubt, and he is easily the favorite for the next peasant to win a ring and no longer be a peasant. But
Oh yeah, it's
unfortunately,
not even close.
yeah, unfortunately, he is still a peasant. So sorry, Mike.
Went to the championship last year, remained a peasant.
Yes.
So maybe this is the year. 2 in a row. Not a lot of people go back to back, but he's got Amon Ra. He's got a good team. We'll talk more about that later, though. I think with Mike, yeah, just getting married, he's another one. We all grew up together, and I just remember like early on. I don't know. There was some point, maybe it was in like the mid 2010s. Mike really hit his stride, and all of a sudden he had really good teams most of the year since then. There was a down year or two while he rebuilt, but he did it very quickly. So he's another one, and I agree with James wholeheartedly. He's going to be the next one to win from the group that hasn't won. So could it be this year? Yeah, I think it could, but he's got great foundation moving forward either way. So I think that it could be the married guy's year.
It could be. There you go. Nothing like an interruption from a 2-year-old. Okay, you don't want it? No biggie.
That's fine. We're pretty relaxed on this podcast.
We are. It's the No Rules podcast.
Sure is.
The next guy on our list here is Pat Mcinerney. He's
back.
Correct. I believe he's an original member. Did he take over Kevin's team?
He took over Kevin's team maybe 2, 3, 4 years in, somewhere around there. So, guy with one of the few Big Show members with football experience, so that gives him a little bit of a leg up.
Yeah.
Now, I think that. Well, go ahead.
No. Sorry. No, I said I wouldn't talk about it before. You see it? Nothing crazy happened. It's all good.
So, Pat Mack just had a good draft this year, but it's not panning out. I don't think he started a running back this week who actually participates in games. It was a little rough, Grandpa Kamara, and
okay.
Oh, Cortland Sutton, Jimbo, let's go.
Yeah, Tim's got Russell Wilson, so I was pretty bummed out about that.
Oh man,
like a goal line fade.
The worst play in football.
Yep. I'll say this about Pat. He's definitely the most likely member of the Big Show to become the next CEO of Disney. He just looks the part. I'm taking that line from my wife Jacqueline. She met him for the first time at Society's wedding and said, "You look like you could be the next CEO of Disney." And somehow looked at his fingers and said, "Do you play the piano? You look like you have piano fingers." And he was like completely taken aback, like, "Yes. How did you know?" And yeah, so he's definitely one of the more interesting characters in our league. Not historically involved like some of the rest of us are, but he's there, and he had one of the best draft time videos of all time. drafting Jerry Judy with a Judge Judy poster secretly behind it.
The videos. Max is wishing we would go back to that just so we could draft earlier in the season.
It was so fun.
It was really fun, actually. It's not a bad plan. I don't know. We got to figure it out.
The next guy on our list is a professor. His name is Royen
Proff.
Labar. He is an
Barry.
original. Again? Stop it. He is an original member, famously known for winning a championship in the beginning years, maybe the first year. I don't really know. Was it the first year?
That was the first year. That was the Todd Heat miracle. That's when he basically changed Andy's future and fortune forever.
Yeah. And Labar is famous for that, not only for Todd Heat, but also because he just hasn't really made the playoffs since. And as we know now, like it's been 17 years. It's a long time to kind of just be in mediocrity. And that's where he's at right now. Throw it to him. He's open. Oh my God.
I think that there's been a pattern developing the last couple of years where he gets a fairly good team, does some trades at the last minute to try to sneak in, doesn't sneak in, is hamstrung for the next year, and then rinse and repeat. Oh, Jerry Judy actually just got hurt.
He did.
So we'll see what he comes up with. He's actually got a decent squad. He, like we said, he forgot to start an actual person this week. He played a guy who was out, so it's not the best start to the year. He did whoop me last week though, so it's not all bad. There we go. Now we're cooking. No way.
Yeah, I know. Javonte was wide open in the middle of the end zone, waving his arms, and Russell's like,
"That wasn't a touchdown." Wait, did they overturn the Cortland play? What the hell?
Yeah.
All right. So Labar, living right next door to Max, very jealous, close proximity to Southborough House. Won that first year, and then James is right, been a little bit of mediocrity for the last 17. So we'll look to see how he responds over the coming 17.
Hold on 1 second, Ryan.
No worries.
Claudia, I cannot open the headphones. They're headphones. This is what they are. I cannot open them. Can you please go inside? All right, then just hang out with me. But I cannot open this. Sorry.
You're good. All good.
Labar is also, in my mind, the most likely member to win Big Brother. Not just participate in Big Brother, but win Big Brother. And I say that because I think he's literally been watching it obsessively for 16 straight years. And the only other person I know who does that is my mom. So, be careful. And I think what ties into what you were saying before about him like having a chance to make the playoffs, making a trade that kind of mortgages the future a little bit, and then not making it. Part of the problem there is because he can't stop trading for old people. Like his average age of keepers, his average age of guys on his roster are just like typically the highest in the league. And I don't know if it's under 30. It might be 29 if I'm being
nice.
Was
like just over 29 this year for his starters only. And so it's probably right around 30, which is crazy because I bet you like the rest of the league's like 25, 26 at the most.
Yeah. And like he's like the anti-Andy. Andy and Cream are all about rookies.
Oh my goodness, so cute.
Can you see?
Yeah, Andy's average age is probably like 22.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're wearing them. Speaking of fellow rookie lovers, Kareem Khalil, we mentioned him earlier a couple times.
Oh, there goes Pollard.
Yeah, he almost made it. I don't know if he's in.
Oh, he didn't get in? Okay.
Kareem is an original member and the original commissioner.
He sure was.
I think he deserves a ton of credit for how we started and how we've kind of gone to where we are now. And I think we're seeing his innovative thought process show itself with his sports betting lifestyle too. He's kind of gone all in that, and I think it's pretty awesome. It's allowing him to travel to Italy and be a basketball coach and just do some really cool things. But it also helps when you bet 4 different times on Shohei Ohtani winning MVP and it nets you like 60K. You know, that's not a bad start.
That's a great start.
But he's either tied for the league lead in championships or has it. I think it's 4. I totally forgot
Yep.
that Chris was ranked up there. I didn't know that. So Chris is up in that position too. And Kareem has had success historically by just investing heavily in 3 wide receivers and 1 decent running back. And it's like this new thing. Oh, do the 0 RB strategy. This new thing. Kareem's like, yeah, I've been doing it since 2005. Like, what are you talking about?
He's been doing it for a long time. He just gets those receivers, Andre Johnson. Who are some of the other guys?
Yeah.
Wow, what a
Peak Michael
ridiculous player.
Thomas is the most recent
Peak
one.
Michael Thomas. Yeah, he's the most recent one. I
Probably.
think he had Larry Fitz for a period.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
Michael Pittman, who looks good now, despite the fact he didn't play today. Yeah, I agree. Kareem was integral part. It basically was the reason the league was founded initially. He's the one who started it. Um, we did have to remove him as commish after 7 or 8 years to get some new blood in there.
Because he may or may not have been cheating the whole time. We don't know. Just people mysteriously getting moved to people's benches, and oh yeah, things got a little wonky there. It's like poker all over again.
Yeah, let's just say it's not the transparency the new regime offers. Um, so no, it's but yeah, it's absolutely awesome to see Kareem, and the sports betting is fantastic, and then going to Italy and coaching is it's really really fun. So excited to see how he's going to manage his squad from there. He's going to have some trouble with the time zones. He's had trouble in the past from Denver to the East Coast, so this is going to be a little more challenging for him. You better be setting some alarms and be up to the task. So it's going to be a little different this year.
Oh yeah, it is. The next guy we got here is Jimbo Fratantonio, who is another
Jimbo.
expansion manager. Came in with Mike List. Conversely to Mike List, he has not made the playoffs since arrival. They're kind of gone on different paths there. Mike can't
Yeah.
stop himself from making the playoffs, and Jimbo can't stop himself from getting in his own way. He has been annually in control of multiple first round picks, and he can thank me for that because I get absorbed into week 1 and I'm like, oh my god, Kyler Murray to Larry Fitzgerald, it's going to be an unstoppable combination for the entire season. Here, take my future first round pick. And then Larry Fitz continues to shit the bed for the rest of the year, and Jimbo gets 2 top 7 picks. And I think up until this year, he has kind of whiffed on all of his first round picks, and they haven't been that gracious to him. I think that all started with him going David Montgomery over Derrick Henry, which at the time was kind of a no-brainer.
But on the plus side, I think he got David Montgomery in the first round again this year. So,
boom.
back to the well.
The prodigal son returns. I think, unfortunately for him, he's easily had the worst keepers in the league going in. So he did kind of have to nail his draft this year, and so far it looks like he did. And
Been a good start. He looks like he's going to win this week, potentially beat out Max. We'll talk more about that shortly.
oh yeah,
But yeah, could be. So
and
Jimbo, yeah, like I just getting to know Jim in college, going down to URI, just having some amazing times down there, and then him coming into the league, he's definitely, like James said, he hasn't had the most fortunate start or what I'll call the best start. To Pitts, missed it. But he has actually set himself up, I think, for future success. He's got picks moving on in future years. He'll have opportunities to trade for keepers. There's always going to be someone who's willing to release a top tier player for several firsts. So I think that he's starting to get there and learning a little bit to balance the future with playing now. It's not a true dynasty league, but it is important to have a win now mentality in certain circumstances too. So just figuring out the league, getting the feel for it. I think he's bound for better things in the future.
And before we go on to the next few guys here, I think it's important to note that both Jimbo and Mike List are fellow North Baronians. So I went about 15 years before I was like, all right, I got to get some of those OG Northborough guys into this league here too, even though I reportedly was behind the plan to screw them over upon entry, even though at the time I thought it was a good one and I wasn't the only one who voted on it. I'll take the blame. It was my but with that said, we'll move on to Tim McDonald, who is an original member. I believe he's only a
Absolutely.
believe he's only a one-time champion. He may have won more than once, if my memory
No,
deceives.
he's a one-time champion. I think he's been to another finals, but I think he won. It was 2009, maybe something like that.
Yeah, that was the famous Derek Ward versus D'Angelo Williams game where I remember watching it in Max's house, and it was like, oh wow, D'Angelo Williams rushed for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. How am I going to lose the championship? Oh, Derek Ward has 4 fucking rushing touchdowns.
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, it's
That's
awful.
wild.
It's awful.
Well, so we've got the Todd Heap miracle from LeBar. We've got the Derek Ward miracle from Tim. There's some other miracles out there. We'll discuss them more in future weeks. But yeah, Tim, original member of the league, really he kind of was Andy before Andy's become Andy. He's been into the rookies for a while. He likes to craft and have different people on his roster, be able to move people around. He's not afraid to make trades and make moves. Kid loves Jalen Waddle. If you ever get Jalen Waddle on your team, sell him to Tim for a bucket load. It's
Some
just
foreshadowing right there.
we did talk some deals this week for Waddle, but ultimately he's not willing to pony up enough. So here we are.
I mean, a
And
50
Tim, the
fantasy
price
point.
went up. So yeah, not a bad time to not trade him. But yeah, just another guy who maybe isn't as involved in the chat day to day, but you can make moves with, you can do trades with, just talk about random stuff throughout the league. So another great team member and another great addition to the league. Did Earl Henderson get another touchdown?
Nah, you'll see it. DK. But
A
it
DK
actually
bomb?
DK bomb, which may come back due to a flag to be
Oh
TBD.
my God.
Yeah, looks like it's coming back. Illegal man
Wow.
downfield. Way to go, Seattle.
That was going to be his only long play of the year.
Yep. And one thing I'll
Devastating
say
for
about
Mike.
Tim is he is an Algonquin basketball legend. Cannot talk about Tim historically without mentioning that. All-time ball handler. Our next guy here is someone else who played for Algonquin basketball, just not varsity, was Brendan Check. He is
Oh yeah.
he is a replacement member of the league. He replaced Baran, who was the famous Bengals fan who only drafted Bengals players when it was cool for Bengals players to get arrested every other week. And it must have been so enjoyable for Baran that he decided to retire from team management, and that's when we brought Brendan into the mix. Brendan was he jumped into a decent team, and then he had first and second overall, ended up drafting Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette as rookies
Yep.
with those picks, and hasn't missed the playoffs since, which is kind of
Is
impressive.
that right?
I'm pretty confident on that.
Wow.
Maybe that first year, but I do remember those guys both being studs in their rookie years. It's something that we can confirm with some research here for future episodes. He is unfortunately a member of the peasant family, and once
Card
agreed.
carrying member.
Yep, and also once agreed to a secret trade months before the draft, only for it to be ruined due to Travis Etienne's offseason injury in his rookie year. So, yeah, a little bit about Brendan there, and also he looks like Kramer.
He does look a little bit like Kramer, I suppose. That's fair. Brendan, I think, is another guy who he's a little bit quieter in the league, but you want to talk trades with him. You want to just kind of, cook up a secret deal that's going to be, no one's going to talk about for 2 months leading up to the draft. And then it's going to get ruined by an injury the week before or 4 days before. So yeah, there's always players out there. I think, one thing about Brendan's team, it's interesting because he's done a lot of pick trades lately, but he's had periods where he's been successful and he maybe was a move or two away and he hasn't always pulled the trigger. So we're starting to see him pull the trigger a little bit more, make some more moves, be a little bit more shifty. He's got a good team this year. I'm worried about Najee though.
Me too,
but,
honestly. We should talk
but
about
he's
that.
got a good team. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we go to his team. But all right, who's up next?
The next guy is Phil Royen. original member.
Phil.
I thought he was either tied or one victory off from having the league leading championships.
I think he's got 2, so I think he's 2 back.
Oh, damn, he's got 2. I got more than him. Sucker
Yeah,
Phil.
we both do.
Yeah, that's right, man. Eat shit. He
Gotcha.
unfortunately his 2 championships. I thought he had another one because his teams have always been so damn good. Um, his teams
Yeah, he's run
every
into
year.
you a couple times.
Yeah, I know. We've bathtub trades, the upset in the playoffs. Yeah, we could talk about that. But he, I think part of his historical success is that he was the first one to realize that, oh, I could get Max's future first round pick every year and give up very little for it. And to Max's defense, he's a guy trying to win every year, and I support that 100% because I think trading draft picks is amazing and something I do every year. But yeah, Phil definitely took advantage of Max's his trades for a little while.
Oh
And
yeah, and one of them just happened yesterday.
yeah,
Another future second for a future
it's
first.
interesting, you know. History has a tendency to repeat itself. Um, Phil, we mentioned Mike Liz was labeled the worst one to trade with, but that crown will always belong to Phil. Mainly in his defense, he's just a good negotiator. He's a royal pain in the ass, and all of his guys are the best guys in the league. So
He does often have some of the better players. And I think historically, like especially the last 5-10 years, he's had really, really good teams. Early on, he didn't always have the best teams. Phil grew up down the street from me, so we grew up together and playing Sky and a whole bunch of other stuff in the driveway with Ricky Fagan and Kevin Greco and Chris Howard. And he had a little rough start. I think he had one of the worst seasons actually, like the first year. But after basically, I think he won his first title maybe 2010, 2008. After that, he's essentially been one of the most dominant members of the league, and particularly the last 5-10 years. He's probably someone who hasn't missed the playoffs in that span of time, and just constantly has good draft picks, has good players. So, um, you know, it's looking pretty good again this year. Although probably going to start 0-2. No shame in losing to Chris and Mike though.
mm,
But that's not ideal. Still got a team that's going to bounce back, so I think
yeah,
he'll be fine.
and we've mentioned him a couple of times, and he's actually blowing us up in our fantasy baseball chat because I was crushing him, and now all of a sudden we're tied in our first
Oh,
round of
Max is.
playoffs. Yeah,
Oh my God.
shockingly, he doesn't know what the tiebreaker is. He's the commissioner. Um,
Well, there's
he's
no surprise at all.
he's definitely he's an original member of the league. I think he's the most polarizing member in the Big Show, and I'm not sure if it's close. Um, his
I don't
record
think
has
so.
always been towards the bottom of the league, but he has made the playoffs a couple times in recent years, and he's had some respectable years. And he's famous for the quote unquote the run, which maybe we'll dedicate 6 or 7 episodes to that one run. Maybe not
Oh
though.
yeah. Go
Um,
week by week.
yeah, but I think he's definitely going to be on the show the most as a guest appearance. So
I imagine he'll make a number of appearances. He's got a lot of polarizing thoughts. He loves to stir the pot. I think he's as far as a fantasy manager, he's growing and coming into his own. His historic record isn't great, but I think he's got the tools to turn it around here in the next couple of decades. There's a lot of fantasy left to come. Um, he's definitely someone who sometimes people lash out at him. Things get said, little too many pokes, whatnot, and the hammer needs to be dropped. So, it happens. But yeah, he's going to be on the podcast a lot. We'll chat with him, get his thoughts on things. It's going to be great.
oh my God, dude. Kenneth Walker just threw an interception from the 6 yard line.
Why?
That was not a typo. Or maybe it was someone other running back, but I'm pretty sure they ran a toss. How was
Andy just
DJ?
texted and said they're playing. Kenneth Walker's playing QB.
It looks like it was
Oh my God.
DJ Dallas and Pete Carroll with his hands on his hips, like, huh, how could this have happened? Yep, you got Kenneth Walker as QB, hands it off to Dallas, who tries to, oh my God, what a terrible throw. He tried to like float it into the corner, except the ball didn't float. It just went right into the defender's hands, who like was 6 yards in front of the guy who was intended to catch the pass.
I think I'm about to see this play. Oh yes, Tyler Higbee just didn't catch one. Excellent. Love it. Interception. Let's see here. Who the fuck is Malik Collins? Or M. Hollins? I think it's Malik Collins, and why does he have 66 yards for the Raiders?
Malik.
I think it's Malik.
I don't know who that is. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm seeing the play right now. Oh my God.
How good is that?
That was like a Matt Ryan throw.
Yeah. Or Carson Wentz.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that's so funny. All right, so what do we got? Couple people left?
You and I. That's it.
Just the two of us. All right. You already know us.
Yep.
This is James. I'm Ryan, commissioner, 3-time champion. James is a 3-time champion. Let's dig into this week's matchups.
Let's do it. What's the layout on your matchups? Obviously I think you got yours first and then the rest of them. So let's just do your matchups and we'll go down.
Okay, that's fine. That is how mine is. So it's Andy and I. Andy's right. I haven't beaten him in like 6 or 7 years. It's looking probable or possible that this might be the year to break the streak. I don't want to speak too soon. But I've got
years.
Yeah, it's been a while. He always plays me week 1 and I always lose. And his team always stinks by like week 5, but week 1's so good. So T. Higgins without a catch today. Not great. Looking through my team, it was not a great day. Barkley with 13.9, I'm fine with that on an off day.
Yeah.
Naheem Hines, 7.8, not great. Jalen Waddle, 42.1, cock flop. T. Higgins, a 0 spot so far.
Flipper flop.
Flipper flop. The Lazard plays later. Pitts just a 1 grab. Not great. Gage 7.8. So carried by Waddle today. Fortunately, you're playing Andy's team, who Scott fucking Duvernay had 14.46. What a joke. Touchdown run back on the first play of the game. That's his high score, I think, for the day. Yeah. The Duvs.
Shocker.
Higbee's 8.8. Actually, Higbee could end up as high scorer. That game's only at half.
Yeah.
Elijah Moore continues to disappoint, underwhelm.
I love it.
6.6 this week. I know.
Absolutely love it.
Big keeper guy for him. Reese Hall just obviously traded him, had a nice touchdown catch. Pretty efficient with his touches. 8 carries or 8 touches for 60 yards. And a score, not bad. Didn't get tons of work though, and I guess that's the concern.
It's the mystery with
Cam
that
Akers
back
scoring.
Sorry.
Yeah, it is. It is. How are they gonna shake out? Are they ever really truly gonna have, one or the other, who's really the dominant player? We'll have to see. I assume at some point it'll be Brees, but
probably
Jets may suck too. So yeah, really, it's just a pretty sad matchup. This one, one guy has pretty much dominated it for both of us. Otherwise, it's been kind of it's forgettable.
I'll say this about Saquon, like his value should be really high, but he hasn't been healthy in years. At any given time, he could just blow his knee out again or have another season-ending injury, because that's what we know over the past couple of years. And that's where like the uncertainty behind him is, and that's why people are nervous to like give up the house for him, which is what you should be asking for as his league owner. But I do think it's encouraging, as you said, like he had a bad game today. He dropped 14 points. Like that's a good floor. That's like what Jamar Chase did last year. Jamar Chase would blow up or he would have 13, 14 points. And he rarely ever gave you a dud. And that's what you want to see. So I think that's encouraging for Saquon. And I don't really want to talk about Andy's team. It's pretty bad. Like He's excited about Duvernay. He got him off waivers. The only reason why he had 14 points is because he returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown.
Not sustainable.
And I'm just upset that he has Jamar Chase and I don't. Whatever. But at least Elijah Moore blows. So
There's some silver lining there.
I do think it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Kyle Pitts on your team. Like, how much longer are you gonna put up with his shit before you trade him, and then he blows up.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna hang on to him for quite a while. So I'm not in any rush to move him. He's a superstar. Just a matter of time.
Yeah, we'll see. Nah. Oh, who's that? Oh, Allen Robinson. Never mind. Who cares?
Kareem.
All right. So the next matchup, who do you got?
I have Chris and Kareem.
Chris and Kareem. Cool. So yeah,
Another
looking at
forgetful
that
matchup.
one, Chris is league favorite. Kareem is a fellow tanker. We're looking at Chris being projected for 155, which is kind of what you want to see Chris do when you're facing him, because that's kind of a low week for him.
Right.
And
It's a floor week.
Kareem is projected for 98. It's bad. Chris has got Herbert, who should, if he doesn't get his lung punctured by the team doctor, he should be able to play through this shit with his rib. Dalvin, Gibson, which is just an incredibly lucky pick because everyone was so down on him going in, and then Brian Robinson got shot. It's like, oh, good pick, I guess, Chris. And but of course, he's got studs. He's got Dalvin, he's got Justin Jefferson, he's got Cooper Kupp, he's got Mark Andrews.
He had a big day today, 27.8 from Andrews.
You throw in Chase Claypool, Miles Sanders, Tony Pollard on the bench, Tyler Lockett, all these guys who have historically been good or should be good, and just kind of have a big floor here.
I'm not a Claypool or Tyler Lockett guy. Like second/third receiver on terrible offenses with terrible QBs. Are we really getting that excited about these guys? Like Claypool had 6.6 today, and what's his face? Lockett's got 6.3. That's actually not bad. He got 6.3 in the first half. I think that's more than he had all last week. So
yeah,
maybe he'll have some decent games, but not super excited about those guys.
We're talking about guys on Chris's roster who are like flex plays, who might just go in. True. Yeah, like if they're terrible, it doesn't really matter for his team.
Right. He's got, because most of the time his stars are going to carry him. And he's got 10 of these guys who, if one of them ends up being good over the next, 10 weeks or so, he'll be able to start plugging them in theoretically. Amon-Ra, St. Brown.
And like Cooper Kupp just scored a touchdown. He's got 12 points.
Did he?
For the half. It's just another Cooper Kupp day,
No, I thought it wasn't Allen Robinson?
Yeah, give it like a minute. It'll show up on your screen.
Okay.
It's that West Coast delay.
Got it.
Now we'll look at Kareem's team real quick. Like Joe Burrow, who cares? Damian Pierce, I was jealous he got him in the draft. Now I'm just kind of like
awful.
Yeah,
awful.
But wait and see on that guy. He's a rookie. He's probably going to get more and more touches.
A day 3 rookie though.
Yeah, he started Kenyon Drake, which is funny. He started George Pickens, which is also funny. He started DJ Moore.
He's just outright tanking.
Yeah, it's bad. And like DJ Moore's fine. I just think he's forever going to be the guy that people think is going to break out, who never actually breaks out.
Right. I agree.
He's got Allen Robinson.
It's like CD's becoming that guy too, though. I said that to Phil the other day. He's following that same footstep of exactly like always good, never reaching that next plateau.
Yep. And we'll see what happens when Dak comes back, because CD still got like 15 targets or some shit like that. But
yeah, he did. He may actually be having a decent day. I don't know what his stat line looks like today. No, he's got 3 for 22. It's okay. He's still early now.
Kareem's got Freiermuth at tight end. That's a
Cooper touchdown.
Michael Thomas, who just seems like he's going to be a touchdown machine this year.
Yeah,
but like have a low ceiling kind of player.
Right.
And I mean, he's got
could be bad.
He's got Michael Pittman on his bench, who's hurt, and he's got Brian Robinson, who might just be like a 12 carries kind of guy when he comes back, and that's it. Because Gibson is is showing he's still good. And of course he is. Gibson's only 24. Maybe we all were a little too hard on that guy coming in. But yeah, no surprise, Chris is dominating Kareem. Who do you have next?
Yeah, that one was I think the least amount of drama expected for the day, and it's 96% to 4% here, and it's only 5:22. So I've got List talk about a drama filled game. List and Pat, this one's gotten real close, and it's actually going to be projected to be within 4 points.
Oh wow, yeah. Looks like 55% chance for List, 45% chance for Pat. They have become pretty good friends in the last, I don't know, what, like 6, 7 years?
I'd
Some
say
of
so,
like,
yeah.
both being in the city. Pat being a
Ooh,
Southborough guy, List being a Northborough guy, but then also like not really hanging out that much until post grad life. And when they
right.
both got jobs in the big city, and they became just like really good friends. I think college probably got intertwined a little bit too, but it's kind of cool to see that happen and seeing them
Absolutely.
face off here. It's you got two teams who are kind of in what we'll get to, like I believe is the no zone for this league. We've got a
Yeah.
top three, and then we've got like a 4 through 11, where it's just like one could be you could rank one team 11, and I could rank that same team 4. Um, I'm maybe stretching it a little bit, but then we got some bottom tier teams. But like Mike List has Kyler Murray, who apparently is just terrible whenever there's like a Call of Duty event or whatever the fuck that's all about. That's one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. Oh, it's a Call of Duty
Another use check
team weekend.
touchdown.
Oh yeah, huge check. Yeah. Oh no. Broncos D, come on. Uh, yeah, Mike's got Kyler, who only has 2 points this week. That's pretty terrible. It's almost halftime. That's brutal. It's kind of like
They're
Tom
down
Brady
big
too.
though. Plenty of time to bounce back.
Plenty of garbage points coming up for Kyler this week.
And
And
Garoppolo's on the field too now.
yeah, but who's got Garoppolo? Anyone?
Nobody does, but I just saw him on the field. That's
Oh,
why.
okay, okay. Yeah, Mike's got Derrick Henry. We'll see how Horsecock does on Monday night. He's got the ever aging Zeke Elliott, who a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, last draft, Mike traded Juju Smith-Schuster for Zeke before the draft, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Pat, what are you doing?" And
Hey,
yeah,
Pat got DJ Chark too.
that's true. Great deal, great deal. Two guys who are terrible last year for Zeke, who was still okay, but are like I think he's so washed up in real life, it's not even funny.
He finished his PPR 7 last year, so it was a good year. But I agree. I think he's on his last legs. Him and Henry. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't think Mike's going to get tons of value for these guys, so he's just going to
Yeah,
ride them into the ground this year, maybe next, and then he's going to have to. He's going to be. I don't know. We'll have to see.
yeah, we'll see. Speaking of Juju, he has made his way back to Michael's roster.
Yeah.
Along with look at it, these wide receivers are just amazing. He's got Juju, Curtis Samuel, and Brendan Ayuk. And the best part is Curtis Samuel's actually going to be really good this year. Like I think he's probably going to finish as a top 20 wide receiver. And Mike, if when you listen to this, hit me up. I'll overpay for him. I don't care. I love these Washington Redskins weapons. Just give me more. Give me more.
He's got Terry. He wants Curtis as well. Don't pass up that offer, Mike. See if
Yep.
you can get him Zeke or Henry too. Um,
He's also got
salary dump.
It's also got Hawkinson's ETN, who seems to be a massive disappointment
Do you see
already.
Hawkinson today? He had a couple of brutal drops.
Uh,
Um,
that sucks. I
couple
like
tough
Hawk.
ones. I
I,
did
I
too. Drafted him last year.
thought he was going to be better, but Mike's got some depth to his team. He's got James Robinson on the
Oh,
bench.
Pat started Kittle today, who was out.
All right, let's jump to Pat's team. This is incredible. I think the girls
We got
just
two
heard
people today who have been started, who have been out.
you. You got Derek Carr, Mike Davis. He had a solid 5 carries for 4 yards. I think the girls just took out their mom. Jacqueline seems to be curled up on the floor in some
Oh
pain.
no. Let me go check on that.
She's good. She's good. Uh, Samaje Perine, also a starter on Pat's roster. So
Like
Pat's
Davis caught .9.
so Pat's running backs got him like 3 points, but Tyreek did get him 48.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
he
George Kittle will
had
get him
quite the
nothing.
day.
Darnell Mooney, Hunter Renfro, Chris Olave, who got 13 targets today. Like,
Yeah, he had what should have been. Honestly, I don't know really what happened, but if he had just stayed standing, it was a touchdown. Instead, he fell and hit the ground and fumbled.
yeah,
Um,
I think Olave is another guy where I might overpay for. Surprised Andy hasn't made moves for him because Andy needs to have every rookie.
well, he's got Elijah, so there's only so many guys he can keep.
There's so many. But in pass defense, he's got Kamara and Dobbins in his bench, so his running back should be better once those guys are healthy. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup. 130-104 to 127-46 is what we're projected for right now. Do you
Yeah, it's
have
gonna be close.
Jimbo and Max next?
I do.
Perfect. We've talked about these guys before. Max hilariously put waiver money in on Tua and Jameis Winston this week, anticipating that someone else might put money on Jameis Winston and Tua this week. But no one else did, so he got them both, and then he dropped Tua, and then he dropped Jameis for Tua, and Tua ended up dropping 49 points for him. So a little bit of a roller coaster ride to 50 points. But he's got Ramondre, who he kept. That was terrible. Rashad Penny, who he kept. I don't know. DK Metcalf, who he kept. I don't know. You got to keep DK. No jokes. KJ Osborne, I don't know. He picked up Dortch from the Cardinals and started him. Shocker, he has 0 points.
Hasn't even been targeted.
Nope. Dalton Schultz, his best receiver, has 1.9 points. Still a lot of time left. Jonathan
This
Taylor only had 8 points today. Oh my God.
the Colts are bad, dude.
Yeah, they suck.
They're real bad.
Meanwhile, Jimbo dropped 30 points from his D. He started Taysom Hill. That's funny. Um, Drake London, Brandon Cooks, Cortland Sutton, Jacobs all playing right now. Mahomes dropped 20 on Thursday, and Montgomery plays tonight. So, a lot of time left in this matchup, but according to Sleeper, it's kind of essentially over 85% in favor of Jimbo.
Yeah, I mean, looking through the matchup, if Max doesn't get 48 from Tua, he's probably putting up like 75 this week. Um, it's bad. Stevenson, Penny, DK's. We know DK's a good player, but this offense is atrocious. KJ Osborne, number 3, maybe he'll score a touchdown. Dortch,
What?
obviously terrible.
What?
Yeah, I don't.
What?
Schultz, it's fine. He should be good, but good is relative term. He should be like a tight end, low mid tier tight end 1. It's like those guys barely score like 150 points on the year. So Taylor tonight was really like Max's hope is that Taylor scores 40 every week and he can carry him. It's a precarious spot if the Colts are going to be this bad. And
Yeah.
I mean Taylor getting 10 touches today, 9 carries, 1 reception. So yeah, it's not a good spot.
Different.
Yeah, there's not a lot on the bench. It could be quite the year.
And we'll move along here because I just got something thrown at the glass. Ever supportive wife of this podcast is now pushing it to move faster. Shocker.
We've only got 2 left. We'll leave Jimbo's team for another time. Or 3 left. I'll say this about Jimbo's team though: it's quality this year. He's probably going to get the win here to go to 1-1. Nothing special really coming out of it, but he's got 30 from his defense today. Cooper put up 27 on the bench, so he's got wide receiver options, and he's just got to choose the right ones to start each week. Good for Jimbo getting a 1-1. I got James and Tim next.
Oh, all right, cool. Let's do it.
So I'm looking down here. We've got Tom Brady versus Russell Wilson. Wasn't a good day for Brady. 11.5 is bad for a quarterback. He just
Less than
can't.
ideal.
He can't throw the ball against New Orleans. I don't know what it is, but
Their D
especially when he
line.
plays there. Yeah, it's something.
Their D line's really good.
No, it must be because Travis Homer. getting loose. Tim's
It
got
happened like
Russell
10
Wilson.
minutes ago, dude.
Got to get closer to live then. Hang
That's
on.
amazing.
So we've got Nick Chubb went off today for Tim's team, 34 points, 3 TDs. It's weird. He doesn't normally have touchdowns like this. He normally will have like 180 yards and maybe one score at most. So it was good to see him get in the end zone a few times. I'm a big Chubb fan.
It's because I shit
Kareem
on
Hunt,
Chubb all off season. He's paying it back. That's all.
he's going to be
Thank
good. Dotson
thanks, Nick.
scored again.
Ooh, Kyler with an interception. You'll see that in an hour. It's fine.
Dotson with but he's got Judy who got hurt. That could work out well for you if I don't know if Gabe Davis is going to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
It sounded like he had a non-contact ankle injury. I don't like the
Yes.
sound of that, but
It's not
oh my
great.
God, Kyler, that was brutal. But Nicole didn't quite do it for you over the weekend, or over on Thursday rather. Fournette with 11.8. It's not bad, but you
It's
need more from
terrible.
him.
It's terrible for
Yeah.
the whole Bucks offense. That's the problem with investing in too many players in one team. When it doesn't work out, your team sucks.
You want Godwin?
No, too many, man.
Gage?
Did Cage do anything today?
Yeah, he had 5 catches for like 21 yards or something.
Oh, beast, dude.
Not really. Oh,
Beast.
Javante just got a big gainer there. He's up to 5 points. So yeah, I mean, you're probably out of it this week. You could still make a comeback. You're gonna need a big second half. Judy obviously being hurt helps you. If he
Sorry,
doesn't come
Terry.
back. Yeah, so you have a chance to sneak one out here, but overall I think it's gonna be tough this week.
It'd be a pretty hilarious way to go 2-0. My team sucks. Like, we blow.
Well, they're not great. Carter did have 10 today, which is fine from your RB2.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're lacking some of the firepower that you normally have. Honestly, though, it doesn't look that different than the team you had this time last year. So you made that work. I expect you'll be doing a lot of moves, making some stuff happen. So 1-1's not a bad spot to be. You're in the playoffs.
Next, what do we got? We got Phil and Staz.
Yep, that's what I've got.
Yeah. Oh my
Lamar,
God.
53.6.
My girls are yelling at
Jesus. Let's run through these real quick, and then we'll get you out of here.
me. They're all banging on the glass. Take
Not
it
really
easy,
tons
kids.
to see here. Not really tons to see here in this matchup. Phil's getting his clock cleaned a little bit. Still going to put up a respectable number, but Stats is projected for 207. So, 54 from Lamar. I mean that play where he just took the fake handoff and just ran 80 yards was absurd.
Yeah.
Like he's just so good. Amon-Ra had 41. So, I mean, this is kind of like straight out of the Mike List playbook. You just get a couple of guys who can go off, and you just let them do so. And you just can't lose those weeks. So Mike's going to have an opportunity to win any given week. Him and Chris are going to probably be the two heavy favorites moving through the year, barring injuries.
And for Phil, like he's still got a solid team. He's projected to lose by 50, 60 points right now, but he's still like Edwards-Helaire, 16 something points this week. I don't know what's going on with CH first 2 weeks. There's no way he's going to continue this production off of the number of touches that he's getting. You don't average 20 points over 2 games and get 10 touches in those games and continue. That's just not sustainable.
No,
I love AJ Dillon.
He's a sell high.
Yeah, although I don't know if anybody's even going to fall for that shit at this point.
I think so either.
So who knows? Who knows? I love AJ Dillon. I think he's great. Timeshare, so he'll always be restricted a little bit. CD Lamb, he blows. He's worse than Cam Akers. Cam has more points than him this week, so suck it. Got Debo, he'll be solid all year. Christian Kirk looks like a steal, one of the best picks
He
in the
does.
draft
He looks good.
value-wise. Travis
Yeah.
Kelce's Travis Kelce, and then he's just got DeAndre Swift chilling in his flex, who could be, top 3 player if he got the touches. But Phil made a joke. He must be averaging 17 yards per carry. He actually averaged just over 10. 5 carries, 56 yards, 31 receiving yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, he had 50 on 1 carry, actually.
Yeah, so like Swift is still Swift, and Phil's got
good.
Jeff
You just can't stay
Wilson.
healthy.
Jordan Palmer, Josh Palmer, whatever his name is, Garrett
How
Wilson.
long is Phil going to keep Calvin Ridley on his bench, though?
Until someone trades for him. That's it.
No.
So he's gonna get activated in the beginning of the offseason, and someone's gonna be like, "Ooh, Phil, give me Ridley," and he'll be like, "All right, yeah, give me a first," and then Phil's gonna get a first, and whatever.
I don't think so.
Then Garrett Wilson dropped 32 points on Phil's bench, so another rookie.
Yeah.
Andy, what are you doing? How come you don't have him on your roster yet?
Yeah, you could already had him before he hit 32.
And
Now
you
he's
got
going to cost so much more.
yeah. The Phil is gonna be 0-2, which is just hilarious. Don't let my
Yeah,
boys
it's
sneak into
funny.
victory, man. And our last
Yeah, I
matchup.
mean,
Our last matchup is the birthday bash between
it's the
Brendan
birthday
and
bash, and
LeBar.
there's one clear winner.
Yeah, and it's not LeBar. Sorry, Ryan.
Sorry, bud, but it's not you today.
When you start MVS, Marquez Valdez Scantling, whatever his name is, in the flex spot on a Thursday, and then don't realize that Julio Jones is out, and you leave him in your roster, and you can't play Madison or Algier or Ingram or really anyone else.
Anybody who you could pick up off of waivers.
Yeah. Missed out on an opportunity there, and you blame it on doing errands between 11 and 12:30. Bro, it's a rookie move. Grab a phone. It's 2022. It's not 1995 anymore. You know, the iPhone was introduced years after this league started, so I could expect that excuse if it was 2006. But let's go, bro.
It's not flying today. Let's just say
It's
that.
not. We'll see. Maybe Waller will continue to blow up. Thielen could have a big game. Aaron Jones could have a big game. Josh Allen could have a big game. But yeah, he's going to have to drop like 130 points amongst those guys. So good luck to you, Professor. And
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen this week. But 1-1 for LeBar. Brendan will go to 2-0. I'm worried about Najee though. He's just
like the
this
volume's
Lisfranc
there.
thing.
The,
Yeah, it's the Lisfranc thing now. He's already irritated it twice. I just don't see how he's not going to continue to have issues with that throughout the season. That's my main concern.
yeah. And also like their O-line blows, Trubisky blows. He's going to get
Yeah.
15 to 22 touches a game, but it's going to be for low production. He's going to be touchdown reliant, but his floor is going to be high, but his ceiling is going to be low, you know?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. He should have a solid 10, 12 point floor with, maybe he gets 20 if he scores a touchdown.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair point.
Like Deontay Johnson, another guy on the Steelers. He's going to get a lot of opportunities, but I don't know if they're going to be high quality opportunities. And
Right.
his results are showing that. He had 13 points this week. He had 12 points last week. He plays 80+% of the snaps. He's had 12 targets and 10 targets in the respective games. So, like, he's got to do more with his opportunities. But Steelers
Yeah,
kind of
you're
blow.
getting lots of them. Yeah, they're not looking as good as they have previous years. And even Big Ben last year, we felt like he was on his last legs, and he was, but it just shows you how good of a quarterback he is, and how, the drop off really is so large from those top tier quarterbacks to everybody else.
Honestly, Big Ben was on his last fucking toe last year. But Brendan's got a decent team outside of those. Najee, Deontay, he's got Christian McCaffrey. Who's Christian McCaffrey? He dropped 20-something points today, so that's encouraging to see. Mike Williams, who will either get you 4 points or 34 points. I think that's just kind of it's what it is. You'll either get targeted 3 times or get targeted 15 times.
Yep.
Zach Ertz, who could be good, but I just don't want anything to do with that Cardinals offense, man. No fucking thing.
They spread it around. Kyler's playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It's hard to really say.
And then like Damian Harris dropped 18 points today. That's good to see for us Pats fans. Like, way to go. We won. That's awesome.
He got hurt though. It looked like he
really?
might have hurt his leg at the end. Yeah. So
Jesus.
it might be Ramondre Stevenson time for Max. Maybe bailed out here with his pickup there.
Breaking news: Phil just put DeAndre Swift on the trade block.
And Garrett Wilson.
Oh, good. And Garrett Wilson. Phil needs someone to talk to on a Sunday. Maybe he should join us one of these days.
There you go.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. Phil's going to try and trade those guys for top value. I don't know if anybody should give up much for those two. DeAndre, we want to see more touches from him before he gets any real value.
That's not true. Real value. He's still DeAndre fucking Swift, but like,
I want him to stay
what-
healthy. I know what you mean. You want him to stay healthy. You want him to have a better. You want him to getting 20 carries a day, 20 touches a game or so, rather than what do you have 4 today, 6 today. He's explosive, but he needs to stay healthy.
and
I agree.
For the price it's going to cost you, that's just solid, man. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm not.
that's the rundown, man. Those are the matchups.
Those are the matchups. That's the first big show pod. Hope that you guys enjoyed. We will be back next week. We're going to try to add some segments. We're going to be doing guest spots, so hopefully get some good stories going on. Get a few people in here to talk about the league and the teams, and kind of take it from there.
Yeah, we're going to wrinkle in some guest appearances with who we're facing off with each week, and hopefully the guests can appear. If they don't, we'll just send them. If they can't, we'll just send them written questions before, and we'll pretend that they're here, and we'll go from there. We'll have some fun with it. And
I love it.
we'll talk trades, we'll talk about life, we'll talk about all sorts of stuff, and hopefully we'll do this at a time where the girls are asleep, so I don't have to deal with them banging on the walls and yelling at me every few minutes.
Perfect. I love it. That's a great idea.
All right, man. I'm gonna try and end this Zoom without deleting the recording. So, wish me luck.
Fingers crossed, man.
All
Great
right.
first episode.
It was a blast.
Let me know when you send it out.
All right, I will. All right, peace.